Tuesday, August 29th, 2023, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak. Again, pressing *6. It is very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. Okay, we've called this meeting to order, so we will do our Board of Commissioners roll call. Commissioner Bell, are you with us this morning?
Good morning, I am.
Good morning. And Commissioner Yamamoto?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Okay, we will jump in with Adventist Health Tillamook. I believe I saw Eric Swanson on this morning.
Hey, good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
We have 13 patients in the hospital today, 5 surgery cases scheduled. Our ambulance crews did 10 911 transports yesterday, 2 transfers, 1 transport home, so it was a busy day for them. This morning we have 124 patients boarding in emergency departments across Oregon. That's 33 more than yesterday. And there's 405 patients waiting to be discharged, which is also 4 more than yesterday. This morning, getting up, going on my way to work, I got into my driveway and there was one of my friends who's a state trooper investigating a crash that happened right there on 101, and just makes me want to remind everybody to thank our public safety responders, whether police, fire, or EMS, for the great work that they do. It's been a busy summer. I talked with him for a couple minutes, and he said that he works day shift, and it's just been a very, very busy summer. So holiday weekend's coming. Just want everybody to drive safe, drive careful, be patient, and again, thanks to all the great emergency responders in our community that are serving every single day. So, unless you have questions for me, that's all I've got for you this morning.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. Commissioners, any questions for Eric? Okay. Hearing none, thank you so much. And we will move on to the Coastal Caucus. I believe we have Senator Weber with us.
Yes, you do. Can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Oh, I'm glad to be here today. We just finished our walk this morning, and it's very still outside and kind of moistly warm. You can tell that there's a little tinge of fall in the air. I've had a very exciting and involved week, working in a lot of different areas. I got to meet the new director of Oregon Education, Dr. Charlene Williams, this week. I also got to go to OMIC, and Oregon Manufacturing and Innovation Center in Scappoose, and right next door to the PCC adjunct to OMIC, and all of the work that they are doing in technology, especially. It's really exciting because the people from Sheffield, England, whom the program is patterned after, were also there to look the program over and make some suggestions, and lots of kudos to people in Oregon for what they have done in Oregon manufacturing and innovation, especially. And then I got to attend the Tillamook Farm Bureau meeting, and there are a lot of issues that may be arising because of an initiative concerning animals that there was a great deal of discussion on. There will be people asking for your signatures again in parking lots. Really think hard before you put your signature on something. Read it. Don't necessarily believe everything they say until you have read every word of what that petition says. I got to meet with the mayor of Rockaway also. We had a very interesting conversation about things that are going on in Rockaway and things that are going on up and down the coast. And it was a pleasure to meet him and visit with him. And Cassie retired this week, and her party was in the Maxwell Park. And you know, we just dedicated that park about a week ago, and Commissioner Bell was in charge of putting on the event to honor Cassie for her retirement. what a wonderful place to have a get-together. The park is definitely going to be an addition to our community, especially an outdoor celebration opportunity. And then last week I also got to meet John Sipes, who is the chairman of the Moose International Board of Directors. And he was here in Tillamook, traveling all over the United States, visiting moose lodges. And he also presented our new fire chief with a whole box of Tommy the Moose stuffed animals, so they can be given to children that are in peril or in trauma as something to help them through. And it was a very nice evening getting to meet him and getting to meet the folks who are in charge of the Moose, a great service organization in our community. Things coming up. There's going to be a hearing with fish processors. There are some real issues with outflow and input of water and how it will impact their DEQ permits. And so I'm working on that. And speaking of fire chiefs, I'll also be able to meet with Nestucca Fire Chief, who I believe right now is the president of the fire chiefs in Oregon. And we're going to be talking about additional legislation that could possibly come as a result of the needs of the fire departments especially. Pay attention, former Senator Johnson has been working on Helping Hands negotiations. There is a funding issue that needs to be addressed, and we have a Helping Hands center here, and it is a real positive addition to our community, and we need to keep informed about how that can be continually supported. And remember, up until this point, Helping Hands has been supported and run by private donors. It is not something that has received money from the state, and so that is something that we also need to honor in our giving, that Helping Hands needs our help. And then last night I got a message that Tim Hall, the mayor of Garibaldi, had resigned. And I really want to thank him for his service. You know, we as boards and committees and cities, we're fueled by volunteers. Volunteers make up what we are. They're people that are dedicated to making sure that everything works well. And I really want to thank Tim for his service. There are all kinds of new challenges. There's a new city manager. And I also want to welcome Katie Feindling, our new acting mayor, and I think she'll have a report this morning for you. She's been on the council for a couple of years. She's got soon-to-be two-year-old twins. And she's got what it takes to make sure that things are going to move ahead appropriately. And once again, Tim, thank you for putting yourself out there, putting yourself at the service of the city of Garibaldi. We really appreciate that. I also wanted to say that it's time for back to school. And there are kids everywhere. And so please be careful when you're driving. They may not be paying attention to what you're doing. And I want to also appreciate the teachers that are coming back and the aides that are coming back to help the teachers also. I am going to co-chair a task force on substitutes, which is a really important part from our educational services. And if you go on the Tillamook school page, you will find that they are working through, on Facebook, a whole series of photographs of people that are out there teaching your kids, helping your kids, so that you will know who they are and what they do and appreciate them for all of the time and effort that they are putting into this job. And I know I've got other things I wanted to say, but I think that's it for today. I think I'm finished, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to do this every week.
Thank you, Senator. We really appreciate you being with us. We know that as a state having 4 counties that you have to attend to and support, we know that you're making time for us every week is something that you consciously do, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any questions for the Senator before we let her slip away?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Absolutely, please.
Thank you. And Susanna, I just want to thank you so much. Even though legislature is not in session, you are just so actively engaged, not only in Tillamook County, but in all the counties that you represent in Salem. And I, for one, appreciate it so much. Really do. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you being there. All of you commissioners and all of you boards, you give your time and your talent and your effort you're one of the few, you're one of the counties that's being paid, but we have other county commissioners that aren't even being paid for the service that they are given. You all really need to be acknowledged for your service and the gifts that you bring to your position. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Yeah, there are different models of governance, and we've talked a little bit about it on this call at different times, but for Tillamook County, your 3 seated commissioners act as the CEO of the county. We are your executives. We do work full-time, and we are responsible for the signing of contracts, for employment of employees, risk management of the county. Just if you think about any business in the world and what their CEO is responsible for overseeing, that's what your 3 commissioners are responsible for at the county. So it's, I think a lot of times people, you may think of us as commissioners as who you see out in the community supporting various causes and events. You hear us talking about the state as it relates to timber for the county. You hear us talking about health services. I mean, there's just a lot of pieces that we advocate for at the state level and then again at the federal level. But in addition to that, we are in fact the CEOs of the county, and we do make sure that the operations of the county are efficient and effective as well. So lots of different governance models out there. Okay, thank you very much, Senator. We will move on to the Tillamook County Community Health Center. I believe I saw Ed Colson with us this morning.
Yes, Ed Colson's here. Good morning, Commissioner, and good morning, Tillamook County. So this Thursday, August 31st, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. is Tillamook County's 2nd annual Overdose Awareness Day at the Blue Heron. This annual campaign aims to end overdose, remember without stigma those who have died, and acknowledge the grief of the family and friends left behind. So please come explore our resource fair with local organizations that support ending overdoses right here in Tillamook County. There will be crafts and activities for all ages. Free food will be there, provided by the food trailer at the Blue Heron for the first 100 folks that arrive, and we'll have musical guests Eric Sappington and Mercury Coast there. Please wear purple to the event to show your support. For even more information or questions about the events, check out our Facebook page, or you can call 503-842-3934. You can also check out fentanylawarenorthwest.com for resources around naloxone. So we also ask everyone to please schedule a wellness exam now through December 31st, 2023 for ages 3 and up for an opportunity to receive a gift card in the mail after your visit. The wellness exam may include physical exam, immunizations, in-clinic lab testing as needed, and dental, hearing, nutritional, and vision screening. Annual wellness exams meet the criteria for sports physicals and have no out-of-pocket costs for the exam and labs that can be done in our clinic. To learn more, please visit our website, tillamookchc.org, or call 503-842-3900 to schedule. All of our providers are accepting new patients. In mobile clinic news, we are providing dental services on our mobile clinic up north. The mobile clinic is going to be stationed in Nehalem at the bottom gravel parking lot on the corner of 101 and 7th, while we were providing dental services to our North County residents. The mobile clinic is going to be stationed there in Nehalem the 2nd and 4th Monday of every month, and the schedule is open now. If you call our dental staff at 503-842-2356 for more information, they can also help book your appointment there in North County. And lastly, we have been following OHA vaccine guidance very carefully and have still not received any new information on when a new round of COVID-19 boosters will be approved for Oregonians, but we do expect to have an update mid-September. Flu and COVID-19 vaccines do remain available by appointment at many healthcare facilities and pharmacies within the county, and including our main health center location. As a reminder, the health department will be offering COVID vaccines by appointment on Tuesdays and Thursdays only. If you have any questions on if you're eligible for another booster or not, please either contact your primary care provider or you can call our public health nurse who will help guide you. For resources and support in finding a vaccine, you can call our public health line at 503-842-3940, or you can contact 211. And lastly, at-home COVID test kits do remain available at all county library branches, as well as at our main clinic off of 9th Street. And that's our health department update. I'll turn it back over to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate that. Any questions for Ed before we move on? Okay, not hearing any. We will move to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Gail, good morning.
Yes, good morning. A couple of announcements from the Nehalem Bay Health Center. Our pharmacy, in a few weeks, we may have some exciting news related to pharmacy access. In the meantime, our temporary hours are still 9 to 5:30 with no lunch. That's in the pharmacy. And our clinic hours remain at 8 to 6 p.m. Also, we will additionally be participating in the Overdose Awareness Day. Thank you, Ed, for letting us know of that, and also for the Tillamook County Community Health Center's organization of this important event for our community. Look for some of our team members there at the Blue Heron as well. And finally, the Nia County Student Health and Wellness Center. School is opening soon, so we're wrapping up activities there to reopen the school-based health center. It'll be open September 5th, the day that school starts, and I'd like to take a moment and ask everyone to please exercise caution when driving through the school zones, follow the laws, and also be cautious of school buses in our county and respect what they do for us here in the community and to the workers there. And those are my announcements for this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gail. Appreciate you being here. Any questions for Gail? Okay. Not hearing any, we move on to Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Frank Hanna Williams.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Frank Hanna Williams, Director, Tillamook Family Counseling Center, Behavioral Health Services for Tillamook County residents. If you have questions about appointment services, please give us a call at 503-842-8201 or 1-800-962-2851. Want to specifically draw attention, we are beginning today. It is a parent support group. We're setting aside the next 5 weeks for a support group that's an informal and welcoming meeting for parents. And in this group, parents will have opportunities to share their experiences, get support from other parents, learn practical parenting tips, and learn about resources in the community. These sessions will take place at the agents at Tillamook Family Counseling Center, and if you are interested in registering for the free series or finding out some information about the series, please call us and ask specifically about the parenting support group. and you can call and ask about that, 503-842-8201. And again, we're beginning this and also beginning to assess, as a result of this, what kinds of supports we would be able to offer moving forward. There's some things that I'm sure we're going to learn, but again, if you have any questions regarding the parenting support group, please give us a call, 503-842-8201. And I don't have any additional information, but we'll take questions.
Thank you, Frank. Any questions for Frank? Okay, well, parenting support group sounds like a wonderful thing for our community with healthy families, which starts with infants. The tagline is because kids don't come with instructions, and I feel like it goes on for the rest of their life where they don't come with instructions, and a parenting support group is a great place to come together with others and talk about how you're adapting and learning and things to share and help one another. So that's a great service to the community. Thank you for having that, Frank.
Thank you.
Okay, Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Brown, I think I saw you on here.
Good morning, I am here.
Good morning.
It's near the end of August. We're just a couple of days out from the end of August, and it's been a while since I've shared stats, so I thought maybe I'd share stats for the month of August. Keep in mind that with these extra couple days, of course, the stats will increase slightly, but August 1st to right now, basically, just this morning, the stats that I'm going to give are from those dates. So total calls for service, we had 1,595, so just right around 1,600 calls for service for the month of August. Assault calls that we had 21. We had 26 disturbances that we responded to. We had a total of 44 motor vehicle accidents or recreational accidents. That's kind of a high number, so I just encourage everybody to slow down and be safe. The traffic stops our deputies started was 123. We had 2 water rescues, which is actually down from last year, which is really good. That's always a good sign. Our deputies wrote a total of 88 cases, at least so far, and 39 arrests were made. Now, keep in mind, this is just a snapshot of a few of the call types that we have. We literally respond to, hundreds of different call types. But again, that's just a snapshot. So we've been busy. 1,600 is a lot of calls that we have to take for a month. And, we're just plugging away. So with that, I don't really have anything else. And, I will say this. I attended County Clerk Tassie O'Neill's retirement party. I'm very happy for her that she gets to move on to the next stage of retirement, and I hope she enjoys it, and I hope she's happy. I like Tassie a lot, and she's been doing it for a lot of years. She definitely deserves it. So Tassie, if you're listening, congratulations and good luck. With that, I'll take questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Sheriff. Any questions for the Sheriff this morning? Okay, not hearing any. We will move on. Typically, you would hear from the Emergency Management, Randy Thorpe, but he is not with us today as he is heading off on a well-earned vacation. We've had some exciting things in the last week, and I'm sure that Commissioner Bell will probably talk about those. So I'm actually going to move on to Commissioner Bell and let her kick us off to the Board of Commissioners.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
Well, I will be happy to talk about emergency management and some of the things that went on last week. It was very exciting. Last week we had an exercise in Tillamook at the Port of Tillamook Bay at Tillamook Municipal Airport, where in partnership with the state, we set up an emergency evacuation center that will be, the state has invested in the equipment and the buildings, etc. They're tents, sort of like hunting tents, like army tents, for an evacuation center in the case of a extreme emergency. And so they set up 15 tents, and there were, for example, a mess tent and a comms tent, communications tent, and a medical tent, and tents for for dorm tents, etc. And so this was a practice exercise. It was the first one of its kind for the community to put up these tents, to learn how to do it, to learn how to set it all up. So that happened on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we had our commissioners meeting out there, which was great. It worked really well. So shout out to our Information Services Department, which did an outstanding job. Thank you. And also to the folks from OREM, the Office of Resilience and Emergency Management, who offered to host us out there and set us up with the SAT runner and all the things that we needed for that to work. So we were able to have our regularly scheduled meeting remotely from the Emergency Ops Center, which was really great. And so the idea of this is that it would be not just an evacuation center for citizens, but rather it'll be a hub for the state to help us. So it'll be a hub where the state will bring in supplies. In the case of a serious emergency, the state can bring in supplies in big helicopters, bring them to the Tillamook Airport, and then take smaller helicopters and even payload-bearing drones out to isolated communities from there. So it'll be a hub to bring supplies in, bring the things we need in, to take them out to communities that may be isolated. If you remember in the 2007 storm, there were several communities that were totally isolated because of landslides and trees down, etc. They were isolated. They lost phone, electricity, everything. So in that case, we'll be able to get supplies to them, to communicate with them, and also to evacuate people. So with the people who have been injured in an emergency or who need to get out, will be able to get out. And so it's really a very, very exciting opportunity that we have, and we're the first community on the coast to get this, and so it was thrilling. And our emergency preparedness groups are largely run by volunteers, and they do a phenomenal job. But what this partnership with the state takes us to the next level in terms of preparedness and what we'll be able to do for people, because we wouldn't be able to do the things that they're talking about doing for us. So that is huge. It's a huge thing to have that investment from the state. And it was interesting that the director of the Oregon Department of Human Services came, which was quite an honor, and he talked to us about how this happened. And this I didn't have this information before, so it was interesting to me. So maybe it'll be interesting to you. He talked about how during the 2020 wildfires, the state became aware that they were caught flat-footed for what to do in the case of that kind of emergency. And so this Office of Resilience and Emergency Management was formed as a result of that, formed and staffed and funded. And so they are actively working on investing in communities, investing in advance in communities to be able to respond and recover from disasters. So it's really a huge benefit to us and to other Oregon communities, and I'm really grateful. It went really well. And the one of the big takeaways for me was the volunteers. We had so many volunteers there helping to put the buildings up, take the buildings down. We had volunteers. People spent the night there because that was part of the drill. And so we had volunteers sleeping there and cooking and taking care of things. And I don't have a final count, but I bet we had 40 volunteers. And so that was so heartening to me. I felt like, with this many people in Tillamook County who care about emergency preparedness, who will show up to help each other in an emergency, this many people who are willing to devote their time and resources and talents, as Commissioner Scar and Senator Weber were talking about before, Tillamook County folks are generous with their volunteer efforts, and it will make a huge difference in terms of how we survive disasters and recover from disasters. And with this partnership, this new partnership with the state, OREM, it's just very encouraging. And so we're moving forward into new ground in terms of emergency preparedness that's never happened before. So I'm thrilled with that. And kudos to Randy Thorpe, who is not with us today, but he did a ton of work in terms of building the relationships with that agency, with the Office of Resilience and Emergency Management, in order to bring that service here and for us to be the first ones, for Tillamook County to be the first ones in the state. So it's really great. And also a shout out to the Port of Tillamook Bay and to Nearspace for being willing and able, eager partners in that effort. So, without all of those organizations and people coming together, we wouldn't have this opportunity. So, thanks to everybody who participated in that. And also, I just wanted to mention Cassie O'Neill's retirement party. Senator Weber and Sheriff Brown have already talked about it for a minute, and we had it on Friday afternoon at the library park, which was lovely. It was the perfect venue for it, and about 60 people came, and it was very touching, and a great mix of people Cassie has worked with, clerks from other counties, a lot of citizens who she has helped, who feel so strongly about her that they came to her party and told lovely stories about ways that she's helped them. A bunch of her family were there. It was really folks she worked with in the county. A bunch of us were there, and it was really just lovely. It was a terrific send-off, and Cassie asked people to go around in a circle and tell stories if they wanted to, and it was very heartfelt. And so she looked young and beautiful and rested and happy, and that did all our hearts good to see her feeling so well. So congratulations to Cassie, and thanks for her long-standing excellent service. And with that, I'll sign off.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, Commissioner Yamamoto.
Yes, good morning. Thank you. So there's been a lot going on. The OREM exercise, Oregon Emergency Management Readiness Exercise at the Port of Tillamook Bay, I was thoroughly impressed with that. So we have 2 containers out there placed there by Oregon Emergency Management. And what came out of those containers, and once they were set up, it's like a village. With an op center and a medical tent and sleeping quarters and showers and bathrooms and a food tent. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible what came out of those 2 containers. And I have to say that, Tillamook County is probably the best prepared for these types of emergencies. We are the most disaster-prone county in the state of Oregon. And it all came together, and it was just an amazing sight to see. Of course, this all started in North Tillamook County with the Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem Bay, and they have been working with other organizations now, other groups within Tillamook County. They're telling us, don't reinvent the wheel, don't do this all on your own. We've been doing this for well over 20 years. Learn from our mistakes. Learn what we do, and it works perfectly. So with all the assistance we're getting from the Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem Bay, we have these emergency groups popping up all over Tillamook County, which is terrific. That's what needs to happen because we will, at one point in time, have a major disaster, the Cascadia subduction zone. I mean, it's behind schedule so far for that big earthquake. We're going to be little tiny pockets of people spread all throughout Tillamook County. We'll probably have 100 little islands of people that are not going to be able to leave because bridges are going to be out, roads are going to be blocked, floodwaters are going to be everywhere. And so we have to be prepared, and that's what this conversation is all about. The only during a Cascadia subduction zone event, the only standing airport on the coast is going to be the airport at the Port of Tillamook Bay. That's why that is one of the most important issues. Having all these different organizations come together, Nearspace is really going to be integral in this. They're doing a lot of work with drones. They're practicing as we speak on heavy lift drones, where they're going to be able to drop supplies to all of these little village areas all up and down the coast, because they're all going to be cut off. We've got so much happening in Tillamook County, and as Commissioner Bell mentioned, it's because of all the volunteers that we have and all the people that are concerned about preparedness and are preparing themselves and their families. So kudos to Oregon Emergency Management. It was a great, again, just a fantastic showing, and we appreciate it so much. So on Thursday and Friday, I was in Grants Pass for the ONC meeting, ONC Timberlands meeting, Oregon and California Timberlands. These are small plots scattered all up and down the Oregon Coast Range. Actually, it is managed by BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, but these are true ONC lands, Oregon and California Railroad timberlands that have been put together. And Tillamook County does have ONC lands within the county. We're one of the smaller players in ONC, but the work that ONC does in making sure that the PILT payments and SRS payments, secure rural schools, and payment in lieu of taxes, we're back in D.C. a lot, making sure that Congress doesn't forget to fund these areas, which are extremely important to most of our coastal counties. So that was a great meeting that we were at. In the meantime, we heard from one of the governor's office staff. I guess they let slip that there was going to be a habitat conservation vote at the upcoming September 6 and 7 Board of Forestry meeting. Now, I am chair of the Council of Forest Trust Lands and also chair of FTLAC, Forest Trust Lands Advisory Council. FTLAC is the only advisory council in the state of Oregon that is mandated by OARs, Oregon Administrative Rules. We are required to advise the Board of Forestry and the state forester on matters that are pertinent to state forest lands within the state of Oregon. Being such, we don't set our own agendas in our meetings. These are set by the Department of Forestry. We always have an FTLAC meeting, Forest Trust Lands Advisory Council meeting, prior to a Board of Forestry meeting. And again, the agendas are set by the department, and basically what they discuss with us are the things that are going to be brought before the Board of Forestry at their meeting, so that we can develop our testimony based on what's going to be on at the meeting before the Board of Forestry. We were taken aback by this little slip by the governor's office. We were told at the previous FTLAC meeting that the HCP is really being pushed back. It was supposed to be voted on in July, and then at the September meeting, and then they told us, no, we're going to have to do a special Board of Forestry meeting sometime in late November, early December. And at the FTLAC meeting we had most recently, they said, well, that decision is going to be put up until after the first of the year. So this came to us as quite a shock. We reached out to the department, and on Thursday and Friday I had several phone calls, and on Monday, just yesterday, I had a meeting with Jim Kelly, chair of the Board of Forestry, and Cal Mukamoto, the Oregon State Forester, and Mike Wilson, the State Forest Administrator. And basically it was kind of a mea culpa. They said, well, we're sorry, the timing didn't work like we had hoped to. We knew about it when we had the FTLAC meeting, but we weren't prepared to discuss that. So it was kind of a mea culpa from them. So this is what's going to be happening at the September meeting of the Board of Forestry. So Chair Kelly said he was very distraught and it was very unsatisfactory on the February vote of the Board of Forestry earlier this year, which was a 4-3 vote to continue moving forward with the HCP. He said a 4-3 vote on the Board of Forestry for something this important is not acceptable. It's unsatisfactory. So it was Chair Kelly's thought that he wanted to increase harvest for the trust counties, which we appreciate. We appreciate the thought. but did not want to restart the process of the HCP. And one of the things he's very concerned about are all these delays that have been happening with the HCP moving forward. One of the things that came out in his resolution that is going before the Board of Forestry is that if the Board of Forestry were to adopt this resolution, at that point, there would be no further input by the Board of Forestry, which is just absolutely amazing to me. How can the Board of Forestry not keep engaged in the HCP as it moves forward, especially since the modeling, and we've been demanding more modeling from the department on exactly how much harvest really is going to be available for the HCP. And so the department was ordered by the Board of Forestry to develop new modeling to see how much timber harvest we could continue to have with the HCP, the Habitat Conservation Plan. That modeling will not be done until December, we are told. And that, again, has been part of the delays. This modeling is just taking the department a long time. So with that combination, the modeling not done till December, this resolution, again, if they adopt it, no further input by the Board of Forestry, it just doesn't make sense. This whole process just does not make sense to anybody. I argued with Cal Mukamoto and with Jim Kelly. There is the Private Forest Accord out there, and what the Private Forest Accord is doing, they have their own HCP in the works, and it's much more liberal than our HCP, allows private timberlands to have a lot more harvest. So my question to them is, these private timberlands, not all of them, but many of the big companies, the Wall Street investors, the REITs and the TIMOs, why is the state of Oregon giving Wall Street investors, REITs and TIMOs a better deal on an HCP than state forest lands, which provide revenue to the people of the state of Oregon? It makes absolutely no sense to me. So I just told the department at the end of that meeting, and I was rather curt with them. The department at some point is going to need to take responsibility for the devastating effects that this HCP is going to have on the trust counties, our special districts in each of the trust counties, and the financial devastation that it's going to bring to the department itself, to the Oregon Department of Forestry. It seems they're doing everything to appease the environmental groups, but doing nothing to help the trust counties and the people that reside in those trust counties. It's just amazing to me. So I'll get off my high horse here and stop talking about the Department of Forestry. It's going to be a very interesting meeting in Salem on the 6th and 7th. Actually, I think that's about all I'm going to have at this point. So with that, Madam Chair, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate that. I was going to add just a little bit, on the HCP. I think that it's easy to get caught up in the conversation about should we cut trees, should we not cut trees, how is this impacting the environment? And yet if you talk with any logger out there, they will tell you about the health of the environment. They're very, very clear and very focused on making sure that we do have healthy forests, and that piece of this conversation has really shifted, and people feel like, oh, we shouldn't cut any trees. People don't care. They just want to cut them down. And I think there's a piece there that is polarizing, if you will, that takes us to no harvest, or people that feel like we're just cutting them all down. So I think there's just a lot in there. I think our Working Lands and Waters group does a great job of educating people on what it really is like to be out in the forest, and where we do our cuts and how we mind the environment as we do that. So I hope that people will learn about that as they think about this issue. The other thing that's really important regarding this issue is that right now, I was just pulling up some numbers, because the estimated tax or forest revenue for this coming year, this number comes from ODF, is $28 million that would come to Tillamook County and then be shared among our schools and our special districts along with the county. And so as we look at this HCP and as we look at the impacts it can have on revenue, that's really huge across our county. And those special districts, the schools, the county will have to replace that revenue from somewhere in order for us to continue to operate and to continue to provide the services that everyone is expecting from our schools, from our special districts, from the county. So it is a complicated issue. And part I bring that up, I'm starting to see on Facebook, there's an ad from the Wild Salmon Center that's circulating, and I see a lot of public comments from people in Tillamook saying, yeah, stop cutting the forest. We should keep all our trees. And I think I just want to make sure people are understanding the balance to that is $28 million in revenue that would not come to the county, would not go to schools, would not go to fire departments, would not go to our special districts that need it. So just kind of an awareness on that it may sound simple, just save the trees, but it's actually a really complicated issue. Okay, I'm going to talk about a couple other things quickly. I also was at Tassie's retirement and want to give her the greatest congratulations. And she served this county, for anyone who doesn't know, for 33 years. That is a really long time to be a public servant. And I just really appreciate everything that she has brought to Tillamook County. She definitely was excited and looked happy to be retiring and to enjoy not having that weight of public service on her shoulders. So congratulations, Tassie. The other thing I wanted to bring up is how Tassie gets replaced, because I think that right now we've been talking about that David is retiring early and that there is a process for the Board of Commissioners and how we will replace Commissioner Yamamoto. And I just want to sort of highlight the difference between that and how we will replace Tassie. So Tassie is also an elected official, obviously, and her position is one that will be chosen by the people in our next election in 2024. But in the interim, we will appoint an interim director. And we do that on our departments that are led by elected officials where we have a deputy. The deputy position at the county is designed to ensure that we have continuity for those very specific, very important services. We have a deputy in our treasurer's office, a deputy in our assessor's office, a deputy in our clerk's office. And our practice is that when someone leaves that position, if it is not on an election, that we appoint the deputy as the interim. So we will be appointing or we'll put on our agenda to appoint and intend to appoint Christy Biggs as the interim clerk to get us through the coming year and to very skillfully take us through the elections that are coming up. So just a heads up on that. It is different than the Board of Commissioners process for replacing Commissioner Yamamoto. As we've talked about for that one, we are taking letters of interest and resumes. That is open right now, and I believe we're taking those through the 14th of September. If you're interested in that process, we invite people to visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. There's a place there to get the information for submitting your letter of interest. So just wanted to kind of highlight that because this is, in both cases, the replacement of elected officials. And also, I guess I should say again, we are required to do this under Oregon statutes. So we had that conversation a couple weeks ago, but I want to highlight that for any listeners who weren't with us then. Okay, a couple other things. I want to give a shout out of congratulations to all of the staff at the Tillamook County Community Health Centers. They had their visit from the Health Resources and Services Administration, which is a major funder for our health centers. They come, I believe it's once every 3 years, and they take a look at everything about what we do and determine if we are providing quality care, if we are following all of the rules that are related to the funding. And I'm very pleased to say that it was a really, really good visit. We had a couple of policies we needed to update, but overall everything about our community health clinics was affirmed to be in compliance and doing well. So shout out to all of the staff because that's not an easy visit, and we appreciate all of the work they did to get prepared for that. I wanted to talk briefly about, actually I was going to touch on Helping Hands that the Senator talked about. They are here in our community providing a very important re-entry housing program, and we definitely want to keep them here. I sit on the board of the Columbia Pacific CCO, which is our health program for those on Oregon Health Plan. That organization also makes significant investments in our community and is stepping up to provide some support to Helping Hands so that we can hopefully keep them in our community. So it is, as the senator said, an organization that has been supported by private donations and not government money. This is kind of a blend of that, but it is really a donation that will hopefully, again, keep it open in our community. But please learn about Helping Hands and decide if that's something that is an organization you would like to support. And I know their website is set up to take donations, and they would be delighted to have the community support. The last thing I'm going to hit on is just another exciting piece, which is the Kingfisher Apartments, which have been built in Pacific City, are getting ready to open. And tonight, the Housing Commission has a tour of the Kingfisher Apartments. We're all very excited to see this project come to fruition and to get the opportunity to walk through it before it gets all leased up, and then they will be private residences that obviously we can't see. So we look forward to that visit tonight, and the really coming to fruition of a very challenging but much needed apartment building in South Tillamook County. So lots of other things happening, but I will stop there and move on to our cities. And we do not have a representative from Manzanita today, so we will move right on to Rockaway Beach. So do we have Mayor Charles McNeely with us today?
Hello, Commissioner. Can you hear me?
Hello, I can. Welcome.
Perfect. Thank you. Charles McNeely from Rockaway Beach. First, let me just shout out to Senator Weber. She did mention our meeting, and I just genuinely appreciate it. She's very busy going about the business of being a state senator. Appreciate her commitment to the role and her taking time to sit down and meet with her. It turns out we had an interesting connection with a good friend of mine who many of you may know. She taught first and second grade early in her career, and she taught my friend's children. So that was a nice connection that we had. It's a very small world. All right, announcements. The City of Rockaway Beach is seeking to award grants to nonprofit community groups and other entities that meet the grant criteria for the 2023-24 fiscal year. Rockaway Beach will award up to $60,000 in grants this year as part of our community grant program. Information can be found on our city's website landing page, and the application deadline is September 6th. We have a major project going on in the heart of our city, the Anchor Street Parking and Park Project, and our Planning Commission is seeking public input on 3 options that have been presented to us for playground equipment. So you'll find a link to the proposed layouts on the Planning Commission page under Government of the Rockaway Beach's website, and you can email your comments to Mary Johnson, our city planner, at cityplanner@corb.us. If you're looking for a way to give back to our beloved community, the Rockaway Beach Fire Department is ready and willing to take you on as a volunteer. It comes with all the training you will need at no cost to be an effective member of a great team. And it's more than just fire protection. It's search and rescue, it's beach patrols, it's emergency medical services, and more. So if you're interested, let Chief Hesse know of your interest at ehesse, THESSE, at corb.us, or simply drop by the fire station on Anchor Street. I'm sad to say that U.S. Bank gave notice that they are permanently closing their Rockaway Beach branch, but I'm excited to say that the Friends of the Rockaway Beach Library are exploring acquiring and renovating the building and moving our library into the renovated building, which I think would be a really nice value add for our city. And then, like a lot of water districts, Rockaway Beach Public Works asks that we all conserve water during this exceptionally dry summer. And then a few upcoming events I want to mention. Our farmers market is from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Thursdays at the Wayside in downtown Rockaway Beach. Get a head start on the weekend and pick up some delicious fruits and vegetables and other artisan treats. We have an upcoming event September 9th, Saturday, September 9th, Moonlight Madness in downtown Rockaway Beach. Our businesses will stay open from 6 to 9, offering great deals as well as live music, camaraderie, and more. And then one of the big events for Rockaway Beach is the Kite Festival, and the 47th Annual Kite Festival is coming Friday, September 15th through Sunday, September 17th. And then I just want to close by saying that when I was elected mayor, it's my first time. I'm a rookie mayor, and Tim Hall, David McCall, and Doug Honeycutt from Wheeler, they all reached out to me, met with me, gave me suggestions and guidance, and so I really appreciated that. I'm sad to hear that Tim has resigned, but I'm sure it's for good reasons. I would add that all three of those individuals are no longer mayors. David, of course, is city manager of Bay City, which is a good thing for him and for the city, but the other two have resigned from their positions. So make it clear, I'm not going anywhere. I'm planning to serve out my term as mayor of Rockaway Beach. Anyways, back to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. And I was remiss. I did not give my shout out to Mayor Hall as well. There's a lot going on in Garibaldi, and there are a lot of people working very hard to get everything on track. And I know that he was leading that charge, which put him in the crosshairs of certain folks, because when you are going through difficult times, people are looking for someone to sort of point the finger at. So I appreciate his service. I know that it's stressful, and as the senator talked about, in that case, it's not a paid position. It is a volunteer who's stepping up to do their best. So thank you, Mayor Hall, for your time, and we look forward to getting to know our new mayor there, which is a perfect transition. And I believe that Katie Finland, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, is with us today. Katie.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Perfect. So, hi, I'm Katie Finlay, and I am honored to serve Garibaldi as the mayor pro tem moving forward. And I just want to join Senator Weber and everyone else in thanking him for his service in these past few years. I'm looking forward to it. So Garibaldi does have a new interim city manager, John Shump, who I'm currently working with and getting up to speed. And we also have a new admin starting Friday. And I couldn't be more optimistic with the staff we have in place and trying to get City Hall back open to the public in September. So I will be meeting with folks around the community in my new role and learning and listening to residents, local leaders, and business owners to get myself up to speed.
Perfect. Thank you.
Welcome,
And Katie. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Right. Excellent. So we will look forward to seeing you on our weekly radio calls. Appreciate you being here. Okay, we will move on to Bay City, and I think I saw City Manager McCall with us.
Good morning. Actually, this is Kathleen Baker, the interim city mayor.
Oh, wonderful, Kathleen. Welcome.
Thank you. We have a few things. Obviously, when they had the Pearl and Oyster Music Festival this last weekend, and we want to thank everybody who volunteered to organize the event. It was very well attended. A lot of citizens from Tillamook and the outlying areas, visitors from all over stopped by. It was a great event. Look forward to next year. And moving on, the footings for our wayfinding signs have been installed at some various locations throughout the city, and by the time it's all done, we'll have about a little bit over a dozen signs designated to help visitors navigate and find attractions throughout the city. Nice to see the work moving forward on that. And our bathroom showers for the hiker-biker campground were delivered last week and set in place. They just have some connections and an ADA accessible sidewalk to be installed in the next coming weeks. And work continues on our upgraded sewer lift station outside City Hall. So a lot of big projects that are moving forward, and continue to see some upcoming projects taking form in the next few months. And that's about all we have for Bay City. Thank you for the call.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mayor. And you have a lot. So when you say that's all, that was a long list. Good job, everyone. Okay, moving on to the city of Tillamook. I believe we have City Manager Nathan George.
Good morning, Commissioner. Can you hear me okay?
Good morning, I can.
Wonderful, thank you very much. I always like to confirm because sometimes I have phone issues. Yes, I do have several things. Thank you, In the Public Works Department, the Public Works Department will contract a sidewalk repair, conduct a sidewalk repair on the northwest and southwest corners of 5th Street and Stillwell Avenue beginning August 31st, which is Thursday. These sidewalks will be dug out and replaced with American with Disabilities ADA compliant ramps. To ensure the community's safety and expedite the construction process, City of Tillamook will close the sidewalks and crosswalks in this area. The job is to be expected to be done by September 8th, and this is the first step in repairing 5th Street, which will occur in the summer. Well, the end of this fall. The city has under contract now with a contractor, and we will be replacing almost all of 5th Street from basically the Safeway area as far west as we can go. So we're very excited about that, and more to come on that. As for sidewalk repairs, the city wants to assure the public that we're committed to providing exceptional public service. Hope our customers, residents, and citizens will understand the city makes this repair. We hope to impose as little disruption as possible and work with you if you have any questions or individual needs. So if you have any needs, you can always email our Public Works Department, which is publicworks@tillamookor.gov, or you can call Megan Shinzi, our executive assistant, at 503-812-5945, and that's information's on our website too. Mark your calendars for the next family-friendly movie night at Goodspeed Park on Friday, September 15th at 9 p.m. We'll be streaming the movie Lightyear. Admission is free for all. There will be free popcorn, games, and more. We're excited to see you there. And the Public Works Department received their new street sweeper on Monday this week. The council had approved that last week. It was very quick. Each employee was professionally trained to operate and maintain the street sweeper. We will continue to sweep the streets regularly. And we ask people please be mindful of equipment and employees as we're operating. Just a note on that, what we're trying to do is get all of our fleet and our vehicles operating and being on a replacement schedule so that we don't have downtime. With our old street sweeper, once it reached its life cycle, it had a lot of downtime while it was being repaired. Recently, as I've reported on in the past, but we were able to clean up a lot of our junk at the Public Works Department, literally vehicles and junk, and made over $60,000 on publicsurplus.com, which is just a bidding website that we use. But it's imperative to get things cleaned up, and not only do we get rid of that junk and make some revenue, it saves a lot of time and money for employees trying to find things, trying to get things organized. We're working really hard on having things ready to go, and employees pick up things and they just go and get things done, and our processes aren't interrupted with trying to find parts and equipment and so forth. So it makes us a lot more efficient. We get a lot more done with less. It's part of lean management, which we're working on in the city. The City Hall parking lot is receiving a facelift this week, hence the orange cones around the parking lot this week. Not only is the parking lot being clean and repainted, but a proper handicap accessible parking spot, or ADA, is being added to better serve our customers and public. It will be open again as soon as completed. We had one there, but it wasn't very useful. It wasn't very usable, I should say. And we'll have a nice big wide one where it should be an easy for customers to come in and out. And this person will remain nameless, but someone came to me several months ago who had a situation where she needed to have a better parking spot for ADA accessibility, and we went out and looked at it, and I completely agree with her, and we were able to get to work on it. So I just want to thank her for being willing to stop by and say, hey, Nathan, I think there's an issue out here, in a professional way, which we appreciate. Public Works crews operate from 6:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday. To reach an on-call employee during after hours, please contact our main number, 503-842-2472. And for inquiries or maintenance requests, you can always contact Public Works at tillamookor.gov. That's on our website. Fun fact, did you know C.S. Bishop invented and patented the first U.S. street sweeping machine in 1849? The street sweeper was horse-drawn. John M. Murphy invented the first motor-driven street sweeping machine on paper in 1911 by John M. Murphy, and it was not implemented until 1913. So a long history on street sweepers. In the police department, Officer Neubauer and Officer Loftman attended a regional search warrant training hosted by the Tillamook Police Department in partnership with the Oregon Peace Officers Association. This training was well received with both police agencies attending from all over Oregon. Officer Neubauer organized this training, and we want to thank him for putting this together. He did a very good job. Tillamook our school resource officer Olson is continuing to prepare for the new school year. Please don't forget to slow down in the neighborhoods in the school zones and watch for students getting on and off the buses. So looking forward to a good school year. Please continue to adhere to the city's volunteer water reduction notice, as mentioned earlier this year. Due to extremely low levels of water, it's imperative our businesses and residents continue to conserve water usage. And when I say businesses, I'm involving everybody, any type of entity, even from the hospital and so forth. We really important the hospital, our medical facilities, and especially those with life-saving issues that need to have water, like for example, our fire district when necessary. So we ask when they can please continue that. We have several positions available looking for applicants, especially in the Public Works Department and the Planning Department. Please stop by City Hall or visit our website for an application. Reminder, if you see something, say something by calling 911 for emergencies or dispatch for non-emergencies. A reminder that the City Hall will be closed on Labor Day, Monday, September 4th, for Labor Day, on Monday, September 4th, which is Labor Day, coincidentally. And the next council meeting will be held on Tuesday, September 5th at 7 p.m. We encourage anyone who's interested in your local government to attend. And earlier, I think it might have been last year, we added a section on the agenda to allow for not only comment on the items on the agenda, but comments for anything people would like to comment. So those are separate sections. In the beginning of the meeting, you can comment on anything about the agenda before it's discussed. And at the end of the meeting, you can comment on anything that you'd like to comment on outside the agenda. So that way it covers everything for our residents and for our citizens. That's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Okay, we'll move on to South County. Doug Olson, what is happening in South County?
Well, good morning, Commissioner. The end of summer is coming here, and it used to be not too many years ago when we reached Labor Day, things really died off, and that's certainly not the case anymore. What changes is the SUVs driving around town change to pickups and boat trailers and that sort of thing, but business remains pretty strong for a few more months, so that part is good. Also, mention was made of Tassie's retirement. I had intended to attend, but my wife and I had a doctor's appointment we couldn't change, and so I remember Tassie as one of the best public servants I've seen over the years, because when the county came up a little short in one area or another, she was always willing to say, well, her department could do without this or do without that and help balance the budget. So good for her, and I too would wish her a very happy retirement as she moves along. Let's see, a week from today, our chamber will meet again, and our guest speaker will be Nan Devlin, who, as most people know, is the director of tourism in Tillamook County. She's going to recap tourism and the importance. And here in South County, it really is a big deal because we have several hundred vacation rentals and other lodging properties and so on, and quite a bit of money is generated that it finds its way back to the county, and that's helped fund a number of things in South County, including signage, the Towanda Corridor project, and a few other things. So if you'd like to know more about that, a week from today at noon at the Kiowanda Community Center will be our regular chamber meeting, and Nan will be our guest speaker. Finally, I guess I would say all is right with the world because Nestucca has a home football game this coming Friday, and the college football programs are starting up, and so things can't be all that bad if we play football on Fridays and Saturdays. So with that, Commissioner, thank you very much, and we'll see you on next week.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Yes, school is coming in session. We talked about being careful with all the kids walking around, but also attend the events. I just saw that Tillamook High School also has their first football game and their first volleyball game and their soccer games all coming up very soon. So a great opportunity to get out and support our youth. All right, well, with that, I would like to thank KTIL for broadcasting, everyone for attending, and we will adjourn this meeting today at 9:09. Thank you, everyone.